A grandfather presented this puzzle to his grandson. He said white's pawns are going forward, black's pawns are going this way. It's white to play, and he asked his grandson what should the result of this position be. Now, his grandson had been playing chess for quite a few years, was actually the best player in his school's chess club, and generally speaking was very good at solving these types of puzzles. The grandson thought about it for a few minutes and then said, the game should be a draw. White is obligated to go over here and take this pawn because it's too far advanced, but once that happens, black will come over here and they will trade these pawns, and then black will simply come over here, capturing this pawn. There's nothing that white can do, and the game will result in a draw as soon as white takes this pawn. Let me go back to the beginning. Before I say anything, if you would like to pause, do you think the grandson was correct, or did he miss something? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, you would be correct if you said he missed something. And the grandfather now said to the grandson, no, you're wrong because you failed to consider, instead of running over here with the king immediately, what happens after the move h3. This takes away the square from the king to be able to attack this pawn. Now, if you want to attack the pawn, you have to go to g3, but then the pawn is a goner and the king can't catch it. Of course, if you take the pawn on h3, the exact same thing will happen. The pawn is gone and the king will not be able to catch it. So what's going to happen after h3? Now, at this point, the grandson said, aha, but I actually did calculate that, and what I will do is play the move c5. And the grandfather said, okay, I'll play king to b1. The grandson said c4, king to a2, and at this point, the grandson slammed the move down on the board, c3. It's a draw because this is an incredible move. If you would like to pause, why is the grandson so excited about the move c3? What is his idea for drawing this game? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, here is what the grandson said. He said, if the king takes the pawn, it looks like it's going to be able to catch this guy, but what I will do is play the move king to g3 and attack white's pawn. Well, of course, if white doesn't want to lose the pawn, they have to push it. And then the grandson said king to f4, attacking the pawn again. And of course, again, if the white player doesn't want to lose it, they have to push the pawn. And now the grandson said the key move, king to e3, abandoning the chase and going to support this guy so that black can get their own queen. So for example, if white simply pushes, black is going to push and get the queen with check, and this will be a draw. However, white, instead of pushing, could also try to at some point go after this pawn, so like right here, but notice now the king is close enough to support the pawn and we get the same situation. Black gets the queen with check, and this position is going to be a draw. Black will be able to continually put the king in check. Maybe the king could run around and try to find shelter, but whenever that happens, let's just say, for example, like this, black's going to take the pawn. It's a drawn endgame. That's what the grandson saw. Now, at this point, the grandfather said, that's a nice line. I see what you're trying to do, but you missed something. If you'd like to pause, what did the grandson miss, and what can white do after this clever move, c3? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the winning move, which the grandfather showed to the grandson, was king to b3. And the point now is, what is the king going to do? If you take the pawn, you still run into the problem of you can't catch this guy. If you move up here, well, white says, thank you very much. And by the time you try to loop around to take this, it's too late. White can play h4 and then h5, and you can't take it again, or you're too late to catch the pawn. Okay, so you actually can't take either of those pawns. But the grandson said, wait a second. I know, instead of moving the king, I'm going to play a2, and we're going to transpose to the exact same line. If you'd like to pause, why is he wrong, and why does this not transpose into the same line that we looked at? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the reason is because after king takes a2, king to g3, chasing the pawn, f5, king to f4, chasing the pawn, f6, and then king to e3, going for to support this guy, just like we saw before. Watch what happens now. f7, c2, f8 queen, and notice the queen is not with check, which was the important part. And now white gets a free move, and queen to h6 actually skewers the king and the queen. King has to move somewhere, but you can't go here to support your queen, and you lose the queen and the game. The grandson was in shock. He couldn't believe that he missed it, although it was a very clever move. Congratulations to you guys if you were able to see that one. I hope you enjoyed this puzzle, and I will see you next time. As always, stay sharp, play smart, and take care.